Brought to you by the EDGE Center at UT Arlington, this is GradChats, your space for real stories, bold truths, and everything they don't teach you in the graduate classroom. Whether you're walking across campus, taking a break from your lab, or just listening in during your commute, we're so glad to have you here with us. I'm your host, Alejandro Ruiz, and today's episode continues our theme for this season, inspiration for the journey, not just the degree. Because graduate school isn't just about research and academic rigor, it's about preparing for what comes next. And today, we're diving into practical strategies to help you launch and sustain a successful career both in graduate school and beyond. So, kick back, relax, and tune in. I'll be your host for this journey through graduate life. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Now, I know I promised y'all an episode about AI, but things rarely go to plan even here at GradChats. So joining me today is Catalina Molina, our career development specialist within the EDGE Center. You all know her from a couple previous episodes, but she works closely with graduate students to help them navigate the job market, build strong networks, and maintain professional visibility. So, Catalina, welcome back to GradChats.
Hey.
Hey, girl. So, today's episode, we're going to break up into 3 segments. It's how to start, how to elevate, and how to maintain. So, let's kick it off with segment 1. What does it mean to keep up with your materials for grad students, and why is organization the foundation of career success?
As grad students, y'all listening, you already know, like from the day to day to the semester to semester, there's so much that students need to balance, whether it is like home life, family, jobs plural, right? Because sometimes you're working multiple jobs, plus your studies and your internships. And then you're throwing in like job searching or career development into the mix. And it can be really tedious and time consuming, more than one anticipated. I like to say that job searching is like having another job.
Definitely.
That you don't get paid for.
No, not at all.
And so it's important for us to create a system of like organization that helps reduce the stress and confusion that comes with all of that. So
when we're thinking about that organization, obviously it's going to look different from person to person, but there's some essential documents that every grad student should have ready when, starting their career journey. So can we talk a little bit about those and what you've seen in your experiences that have helped students?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you have your first basic document, right, which is like your resume. And then if you are applying like internationally, or if you're staying within academia, you have your CV. And then from there, you have your cover letter. And a lot of students have come to my office and they're like, well, I don't need a cover letter. Like, it's not used. Well, if it's not used within your industry and if it's not the standards, don't do it. But I believe that it is a missed opportunity.
You should have a template at least.
You should have a template at least, right? Another thing is some form of a personal statement, because that personal or professional statement, because I think you can use that in your resume and CV. You can use that in your cover letters. You can also use it on the final thing, which is like a LinkedIn page. And I know LinkedIn is not for everyone, but it is, again, just like the cover letter, a missed opportunity to talk about things that you couldn't talk about in your resume and your CV.
Yeah, it's a really great way to highlight your professional, successes too for people in your network if you're not as outward like me, for example. So thanks for sharing. We get this question a lot in the EDGE Center. I'm sure you've gotten it too, working with students one-on-one, but how often should you be updating all of these materials?
Yes. I say, if you want to think in terms of semester, once a semester. And then if you are thinking in terms of like your full-time job, once every 6 months.
Okay.
Because a lot can change in 6 months. A lot can change in 3 months too.
True.
But every 6 months is a good rule or guideline, think of it in terms of like every time you're getting like a yearly review or a 6-month review at your job. That's typically the time when you have to reflect on all the things that you have accomplished. And so it's the same thing with your resume. So it's kind of like a copy paste.
Okay, cool. Now, I know there's nuances. Obviously, when we get to the grad school level, there's a lot of nuances in terms of majors and industries and what exactly it is that they're looking for in terms of resumes and hiring materials. But I think overall, there's some, very hard similarities across all of these fields. So I'm saying all this to preface my next question. What are some of the most common mistakes that you've seen students make in their resumes, majors aside, just in general? And what are some suggestions that you have for correcting some of those mistakes?
Girl.
It's okay. I probably made all of these mistakes too, so you're good.
No, I mean, I definitely have too, right? I think first and foremost is not having your resume updated or you're quite literally missing items. I understand that specifically for resumes, right? They're either 1 to 2 pages, depending on the amount of experience that you have. But if you're missing items because you can't fit things, sometimes you can tell. I sit down with students and I have them talk through everything that they have done in the role. And as they continue to talk, I'm like, well, I don't see that on your resume. I don't see this on your resume. And you just talked about it and it's really important. Talking about training, talking about delegating tasks, like things like that are really important that students don't include in their stuff. So that's one thing, is not having it updated or they're missing items. Another thing is that their bullet points are too generic. ChatGPT, like to the wall.
You can tell. You see the M dashes in there.
And there's nothing wrong with M dashes. Let us be clear, okay? You can ask the English department, okay? It's a real thing. The M dash is a real thing. But it sounds too generic. Like it's... And not in terms of personality, because I don't think that's where your personality can shine through your resume. Like, that doesn't happen there. But I can tell that, like, folks didn't take the time to, like, align themselves to positions that they want in their field. And it's good to have, like, a general resume, especially if you don't know what you want to do. But as someone who has a graduate degree, typically you have a more you have like a better focus or idea as to what you want, and so tailor your things to the roles that you want. Don't just make one resume for everything, because that's not going to work most of the time.
Definitely not.
Another thing is not having enough white space in regards to formatting. Folks try to stuff so much information into one document, and it's very hard to follow, very hard to read. Like, if I was a recruiter, I'd be like, this is too hard to read. I'm not doing this. Like, we're next. And so going back, right? Going back through those things, right? So if you don't have your stuff updated or you're missing items, take some time and think through your roles. Like, literally write it down as if you're talking about it to somebody, and notice some of the things that you didn't include. Include that in your resume. When you're looking at your bullet points, right? You can use AI. I'm not saying, like, don't use AI for your resumes, but what I'm saying is instead talk about your roles and responsibilities and prompt the AI generator to do something that is more specific to job descriptions, or input multiple job descriptions for similar roles and have it tailor it to that. That way things are more tailored and not too generic. And then in regards to white space, adjust your margins, right? Like, make sure that they are a minimum, like, 1/2 inch all around. Make sure you have enough spacing between each bullet point, each section, right? Don't try crowding things. Really do focus on how you format stuff. And if you need to take things out, then do so. But those are 3 things that I've noticed on some common mistakes.
So just to make sure I heard you right, it's keeping it updated.
Yes.
Refining your bullet points.
Yes.
and balancing the actual white space on the page and
Period.
making the best use of it.
Yep.
Last little bit I want to ask you is your take on including metrics in your bullet points. What's your take on that, and what's a successful example you've seen of students utilize that?
Yeah, when I talk about metrics in like the classroom presentations that I do, I tell students that if you don't know a percentage or if you don't have a number or you haven't been able to quantify your stuff, it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, I don't know the percentage. I don't know the accuracy. Like, it's okay. It's okay if you don't have that information. If you do have that information, then yes, include it. I'm trying to think of like a direct example. You could say in regards to supervision. I trained and developed 16 student ambassadors. Boom. A team of 16
And now you have
students.
a metric on there.
And now you have a metric. If you do have access to the data, right, you could say you improved like reading accuracy by 16%. Boom. There it is. Another thing is I've had students ask me, like, does the percentage matter? And that is something that me as a general, like, career coach cannot answer for you because, like, your industry standards are different.
For sure.
For everyone. So I think just that is when I tell students, like, maybe you should reach out to someone within your industry, a professor, an internship supervisor, maybe a peer that's already employed. Like, you know, what does this mean in relation to like the bigger picture of the company or like progress and things like that?
Awesome. Well, thank you. I think you gave us a good idea of how to start. So let's move on to how to elevate. For this section, we're focusing a little bit more on actually building and maintaining your professional network. So I know we tell students all the time because we work with them day in and day out, but can you reiterate for our audience, why is networking so critical, especially at the graduate level?
I gotta say that it's really easy for us to get comfortable within our professional bubbles. I mean, here at the EDGE Center, right, we work specifically with graduate students, and grad students are not here on the day-to-day in comparison to undergrads. So technically, right, there's really no reason for us to step outside of our offices because you won't find a lot of grad students across campus on the day-to-day. But with that being said, that means we have to put an extra focus on making sure that we're getting to know other people across the UTA campus. So the same thing can be said about any other career role that you have, because networking creates pathways to opportunities. But if you don't have that network, that team of people that are standing by you, and you don't get like to know them, or you don't put yourself out there, no one's going to know you, and there's going to be a lot of missed opportunities. And that's why it's critical that students network very early on. Again, it's building a team that will stand by you when you need them. That includes references, referrals, both formal and informal, mentorship, job opportunities, development opportunities. Those things can all be accessed through one's network. But if you don't know people who can do that, if you don't step outside of your role, then those are a lot of missed opportunities that you'll have.
For sure. I heard someone tell me in high school one time that it's about, recruiting and building your cheer squad.
Yes.
So now I say that to also kind of segue into this. A lot of students mention that networking in the professional sense can feel very transactional. But you and I know that there's ways that you can make that more authentic and more personable. So what does authentic networking look like to you? And what are some practical strategies that you can share to kind of take that professional networking to the next level for someone that may not be comfortable with it?
That's for me, that's always been like a hard question to answer. Because at the end of the day, it depends from person to person, right? If you are naturally, more extroverted, right, then it's a little bit easier for you to put yourself out there to start conversations in comparison to someone who is naturally more introverted. And of course, that's not to say that if you're either or, you can't do like the opposite of things. But that's just to say that sometimes it just takes a little bit more work or a little bit more strategy to achieve the end goal that you want. So I feel like when you are trying to network authentically, it's important for you as the individual to have curiosity about the other person. Mm-hmm. And I feel like people have heard this a lot, but people love talking about themselves. So give folks the opportunity to do so. So ask questions. Questions can sound like going beyond of, oh, so what do you do? Maybe instead you can say, so like, how did you get here? Like, what was your professional journey that got you here? Or like, what inspired you to get to this point? Or what's after this? What ambitions do you have to move forward? And smaller, more engaging questions will come about from that. So to authentically network and to avoid transactional relationships, I think be curious and ask people about themselves. And in turn, it will have a natural progression of the conversation. Now, I will also say that there are some people, and I shouldn't say some, there are a lot of people, whether it is within your industry or across industries, that don't want to engage in conversation.
Yeah.
Girl, I have experienced that too.
I think we all have at some point or another.
And that's okay. It's sometimes it's not you. It's them, and that's totally fine. That just means that they are not meant to be a part of your team either just yet or at all.
They didn't pass the audition.
They didn't pass the I'm a theater person, so they didn't pass the audition. They didn't pass the vibe check.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's okay. So please remember that too. Like, sometimes it's not you. You can be the most personable and social person, and folks will still not want to engage with you, and that's okay.
Yeah. Your network doesn't have to include everyone, right? So you did mention about, being curious and really showing genuine interest in terms of how to keep up with that network, right? We've mentioned some like strategies with students in terms of, doing LinkedIn engagement. What are some other strategies that you can share with students to help them elevate their professional networking experience?
I think with maintaining your network, it's important for you to initiate check-ins and conversations. And I've experienced this before. I see a lot of students experience it where they're afraid to reach out to people. Like, if you know someone and you've had a formal or informal introduction and y'all connected both in person and on LinkedIn, like, it's okay for you to reach out like, hi, how are you? How's it going? Do you have time to chat a little bit? How's your role been? How's life been? And so you have to be the one to take initiative. And there are going to be folks within your industry that are going to reach out to you too. So in turn, respond.
Yes.
Respond back and take that time. I understand that like grad school can be one of the most busiest times in a student's life. But it's important for you to take advantage of those opportunities. So be the one to initiate. And if someone initiates with you, respond in kind. But also something I wanted to mention in regards to maintaining relationships is that you have to be intentional about where you invest your time and energy. You can't do everything. Like, you can't be on LinkedIn all the time.
Nah.
You can't be meeting with people 24/7, or like or be involved in every single professional organization that's relevant to you. So I would say, like, choose at least one thing that fits within your lifestyle and that is accessible to you to start off with. And then from there, gauge whether or not this is where you want to be, or if this is like the vibe or the professional network that you want to invest in. And then you can try something else if you don't like it, and start from there.
I like that you're sharing that advice because it's, at least for me personally, advice I didn't get early on, and I kind of just like went gung-ho and joined all the things. And it burned me out so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's expensive too.
It is. Paying those dues is not cheap.
Absolutely. And so like take advantage of like free things around your community. I know for UTA you have the Young Professionals Network of Arlington, and they have free networking events where you could just go and meet up at their designated meetup place and just get to know other folks. I know larger professional organizations like will have some free events too, or free webinars. That's a really good way to connect with people too. So do what works for you at the time.
Yeah.
Because we know it's expensive and it's really time consuming.
Now, I want you to take a minute to share a story from your own experience with us about when networking opened a door for you.
Girl. Well, then I'll tell you about like how I got my current job with you. So I was in grad school I was in my second year of grad school in 2022. And I needed to get a second internship opportunity. And mind you, my network was really small. I was not putting myself out there. I was stuck in my little bubble, in my cohort bubble. And so I didn't know a lot of people and I didn't know what to do. And so I reached out to the most accessible but awesome person that knew me at the time. And that was Professor Wen. Shout out. Hey, Dr. Trent Parsons at UNT, go Mean Green. And Cumbia Kings. Anyways, but she opened herself up and she was like, if you need support, like contact me and I will hook you up or try to hook you up with an internship. And so that is what I did, and I took advantage of that opportunity. It was really scary, but I reached out to her and she connected me with Nancy, who is our current supervisor. Mm-hmm. And that is how I got an internship with y'all back at NCTC, which then led to, y'all presenting the career development specialist opportunity to me. And this is how I got here. And so that is just how networking opened up to me is my professor was part of my network. And she offered an opportunity and I took advantage of it. And that is how things should go. If you don't know what direction to go and you see an opening, go for it. See where it leads you. Because it might lead you to really cool things like me. And so, yeah, that is how networking opened several doors for me.
And I like that story because it just reinforces the fact that you don't have to have an extensive network for you to reap the benefits of it. Yes. It's just about having a really good relationship with someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can open doors. Yay. Well, thank you for sharing. We're going to move on to how to maintain visibility and credibility.
Let's go.
So today's job market, first, let's get this out the way, is a crock full.
It's crusty.
It's crusty. That said, though, I think especially in economic, slumps like the one we're in now, it's very important to make sure you're still visible to the professional sphere. So why would you say that's so important, and how do you think students can manage being visible without feeling like they're constantly having to self-promote and sell their professional image to the world?
Yeah. I feel like, well, it's not that I feel, a lot of people feel this way. And I've been hearing this even from when I was in grad school and I started in 2021, post-pandemic. But it really is about who you know. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's, you have a easier time finding opportunities when other people feel like they know you. Mm-hmm. So when people feel that they know you, right, it's easier for folks to vouch for you when you're not in the room. And so when you are visible within your field, right, or within your cohort, with your professors, right, people will get to know you and they'll be able to vouch for you when you're not there, and opportunities will arise. And I lost my train of thought.
It's all good. I kind of picking up where you're going, though. It's about, showing yourself professionally in the spaces that matter. So to that end, it's kind of going on to some of these, credibility building tips. What is it tangibly that graduate students can do to build that professional credibility? Let's start small in the classroom.
Yes. I think when it comes to credibility, people immediately think like expertise, which is very much still a heavy part of the equation.
Oh, yeah.
But credibility is also about like showing a part of yourself, a part of like who you are, like personality. It's like personality plus expertise, which makes credibility. And credibility lends itself to your professional brand, which I bet we'll talk a little bit more about later. But similar to building like your network within the classroom, you just have to put yourself out there. You can share a little bit about yourself, whether it be like a professional experience or a professional challenge that you've been facing, and starting the conversation off there. And then you can have like discourse with your peers or with your professors and bounce off of ideas. That way, like, folks can get to know like your thought process, can get to know a little bit more about like where you stand on things, or measure like how much you know. And then you can also like find opportunities to learn more and to take initiative and to continue conversations that you started before, in regards to your credibility. That's how I would start in the classroom, because that's what I would do in grad school.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to give yourself permission to step out a little bit. Now, moving past the classroom, right? And let's say for those students that are nearing the end of their journey or already transitioning out, what are some other ways that they can build credibility within their industries as they navigate their career journeys?
Well, there are so many ways.
Give me your top two.
I think very similar to building like your network, right? Or to like putting yourself out there, like being visible. You can't do it all at once, right? Like you can't be at every single conference, and you can't volunteer all of your time. You don't have all the time in the world to publish articles or blogs, to do research. So I feel like very similarly to what I said before is to choose something that works within your lifestyle, and make sure that if you are building credibility and you are talking about something, make sure that you are talking about something that you are confident in. When you are confident about your material, your expertise, that is where you will excel and grow in ways that you didn't expect. And when you're confident, people will believe and hang on to every single word that you say.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And so confidence. Yes, I've also heard fake it till you make it. And yes, that can only get you so far. But you also need to believe it in yourself too.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that is one way in which you can start maintain credibility. The second thing is continue to stay informed. Continue to educate yourself. That doesn't mean go off and get another degree, okay?
To everyone that's nearing the end, don't freak out.
Don't freak out. Like, it's okay. You don't have to go get like a PhD or continue like getting certificates, which is one way you can. But I feel like just continue to educate yourself, whether it be learning from other folks in your network, from your mentors, or just staying informed and addressing those things within things that you talk about. Because the more informed you are, the more like updated you will be in like your thought process, and you'll be able to bring other people into the conversation, and you'll be able to be more innovative in ways of thinking and in things that you do. And I'm babbling. I need to stop. Stay informed.
Stay informed.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Well, really great tips. But since we're running low on time, I want to move on to our next question. And that has to deal with social media in today's world, right? What role do you think social media plays in professional branding? And what are maybe a couple do's and don'ts for grad students?
So I get this question a lot. On my one-on-one meetings, and I have seen professionals have extensive, credible, sustainable careers and professional networks without social media. And I also think that social media is one of the easiest ways to reach the most amount of people with a little bit of effort. So I feel that nowadays, though, even though you can get by without social media, I think social media does play a huge role, an important role in your professional branding because it is tangible. You can click on a link and you can have everything about yourself, your entire journey documented somewhere. It can be referred back to, whether it be on your resume, whether it be on your website or your portfolio. Like, it's tangible. You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so some things that I tell students to do that if you're going to have social media, make sure that you're not, here's a do. Don't keep it updated. Okay.
For sure.
Do keep it updated. Second do is be detailed with your social media. Because that is where it's unlimited possibilities, right? You can write things in, for example, LinkedIn. You can have your bullet points from your resume under your experience section. You can have a variety of certifications and credentials like linked. You can also have languages. You can have people give you like written recommendations from amongst your network. You can have an about section, upload pictures about yourself, share your experiences, be detailed as you would like, right? But again, it's a missed opportunity. Talk about yourself in ways that you couldn't before. 2 things to not do with your social media is don't over-exaggerate.
Okay.
Don't over-exaggerate. And this happens too on resumes too. But for LinkedIn specifically, like I'll tell students like, oh my gosh, wow, like this looks really cool. And I'll ask them to tell me why this matters to them. Like they're like, I'm passionate about developing like innovative technologies, for example. And I'm like, oh my God, so why are you passionate about that? And then
it's
like,
just cricket.
It's just
wait. I got the.
But real talk though, like, don't over-exaggerate and talk about things that you don't care about. Yes, it is important for you to align yourself with company missions and values, but you also need to have that instilled with you too, because people are going to ask you why. And you can tell very easily that if someone really doesn't care about this, because it's inconsistent with the rest of their stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing is regurgitating things on your resume. Okay. I said before, a do is be as detailed as you want. Take advantage of the details. LinkedIn allows you to do that. But also, don't just simply copy-paste what's on your resume. Use your social media to expand on the things that's on your resume. That's what it's for. If people wanted to read your resume, they'd read your resume. Mm-hmm. So don't over-exaggerate. Don't regurgitate. Do...
Keep it updated.
And
be
be detailed.
Great tips. Hopefully, that answers the question for everyone that keeps asking what I need to do on my social media. And to clear it up, thank you for saying that LinkedIn is social media, because it is. Some people think it's part of the job, and it's not.
It is. It can be a part of the job. For example, it is part of my job. But it is social media at the end of the day. You're putting yourself out there. It is a version of yourself. The Facebook you, the Instagram you, the Blue Sky you, and the LinkedIn you are not the same people. Different content for different things.
For sure. All right. Well, we're nearing the end, but got a couple more that we want to get through here. First, I want to ask you, what's one piece of advice that you would give to grad students starting their career journey today?
Today, start familiarizing yourself with the kind of roles that you want within your field and start researching your market.
Period.
Yes, literally, it can be as quick. You can start by even asking like ChatGPT or Copilot, like compile a list of 10 positions within the field of nursing that focuses on pediatric care. Boom.
Boom, you'll get your list.
You'll get your list, right? And that's just to start you off. And that also means saving job descriptions and any available salary schedules or salary ranges that are openly available to you as well. That way you can see how people are paying, if it's available, and you'll have the materials to tailor your job description, your resumes to, based on those saved job descriptions. Those job descriptions will inform how you tailor your materials, but also tell you what skill gaps you need to develop and what strengths to highlight. So what you have now and what you can work on to get the jobs that you want. Mm-hmm. So you should be starting that a lot earlier than you think.
For sure. I think some students put it off toward the end, and then you get that one student that walks in that's about to earn their PhD in mathematics, for example, and they ask you, what else can I do with a PhD in math, right? Yeah. And at that point, you know, you're about to defend, like you should have been starting your job search, so you're kind of caught, you know. Yeah. So I think it's really important. And even though this wasn't an AI episode, we ended up talking a lot about it. So
it's there.
A few takeaways here for that, y'all. If you're using AI to help you on the career journey, like Catalina said, you can input job descriptions. You can have it help you tailor your resume to better match the jobs you're looking for. You can have it give you a mock interview. You can look at potential job openings and salaries that those jobs are paying. It's really there as a tool to help you. You just got to learn how to leverage it, right? Yeah. Now, to close on a little bit of a personal note, I want you to think back on your own career journey. I know, I know it hasn't been a long journey yet. You're still, underway.
I'm still a baby.
I know.
I'm just a baby.
But I feel like you've been very fortunate to have a lot of very meaningful experiences in your career thus far. So what's one thing you wish you had done earlier to help set you up for success in your career?
I wish I had put myself out there more and started building my network a lot earlier. I was really scared about not being ready to do things and felt that I had to wait until I was good enough to do something. But that's the thing about being in school is like you don't have to be ready to do anything. The whole point is for you to take a chance on yourself and to find opportunities to learn, to develop. It should be, school should be a place where you can do trial and error over and over again, because that's the whole point of it. You learn the most when you're actually doing. So I wish I had taken a chance on myself and stepped out of my comfort zone and actually introduced myself to people, asked questions and learned from them, and learn what they're about. I feel that when you put yourself out there consistently and early on in your career, the right people will come your way and support you in ways in which you need them to. So, yeah, that's what I would tell 2021 Catalina in grad school.
Definitely great advice. No, I think, like you said, school is that opportunity to give yourself permission to learn, whether it's in the classroom or outside of it. So don't shy away from it.
Don't shy away.
Great advice. Well, Catalina, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us. I hope you had a great time. You're a repeat guest on the show. This is your third episode now. How does it feel?
Girl, the views are low.
The subscriber count is not there.
No, but it's always such a good time because, you have like the microphone and the headphones. You feel important or whatever.
You feel official.
But it's always fun to like come on and like talk to you and like just letting the people know what's up.
Well, hopefully you continue to let people know what's up.
What's up?
In the future. Thank you again. I've enjoyed having you on here, and I know our guests have enjoyed listening to what you got to give. So thanks. We'll see you around, okay?
Bye.
GradChats fam, this episode was packed with actionable advice to help you start strong, elevate your presence, and maintain your credibility in the professional world. A special thanks to Catalina for sharing her expertise with us, and to all of you for tuning in. Now, if you don't walk away with anything else from this episode or this season, remember this: your career journey is a marathon, not a sprint. And whether you realize it or not, you already have the tools that you need to thrive. So get out there, trust yourself a little, and show them what you got. Now, I've had the honor of hosting this podcast for almost 3 years now, and it's hard to believe that much time has gone past. But the time has finally come for me to continue my own professional journey. So today marks my final episode as host of GradChats. It's been the privilege of a lifetime to be a part of your graduate journeys, and I wish you all nothing but the best as you continue making strides. Thank you to our listeners, to our guests for sharing space and time with me, for being honest and transparent about your experiences. I know they've helped me, and I know they've helped countless others in their graduate journeys. And personally, I'll cherish these memories for the rest of my days. Now, I may be leaving, but GradChats will carry on, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned as part 2 of this season continues in February. Until then, you already know, take care of yourselves and keep showing up. Thanks for a wonderful 3 years. This is Alejandro Ruiz, signing off.